Alright, I think we're live. Okay, I'm going to do some tech tips for you guys today. I'm just going to verify really quickly that we actually are live, and it looks like we are. All right. So what I'm going to go through today is I've got this virtual machine set up, and I'm going to show you guys how to install Firefox. It's a relatively straightforward thing, but most people know how to do it, but there may be some people out there that need help in doing it. What you're going to do is you're going to go on the internet and you're going to go to Google or something, and you'll type in Mozilla.org, and you'll find the link. I can't bring it up here because this is a virtual machine. I don't have the internet turned on in the virtual machine. But what you'll do is you'll go to Mozilla.org and look for download Firefox. And once you do it, you'll download this application. For demonstration purposes, I have it on my desktop here. And you'll double click on it, and after a little bit you'll end up getting this screen. And it'll say, "Welcome to Mozilla Firefox." And you'll hit next. And then it'll choose if you want a standard or a custom install. Now the standard is what most people are probably going to go for because it basically picks everything for you. The custom is for more advanced users. However, if you feel that you could do that, then you probably don't really need this demonstration if you feel you could use it. But for today, we're going to go for the standard, so I'm going to click next. And then it will say Firefox will be installed in the following location. For most users, this is probably going to work just fine, so we're going to hit install. And then it'll start installing the application. This might take a little bit. I would note that Firefox is it's usually a lot faster and more secure than Internet Explorer or Microsoft's newer browser Edge, although they've done a little bit to help Edge. Now, the application is just finished installing, and we have the option to launch it now, which I will. We're just going to hit finish here. And there is the Firefox application. Now, if I had access to the internet, this would probably bring up, of course it's going to try to now, but it won't find it. It'll bring up a privacy notice from Firefox. But since I don't have access to the internet right now, it was not going to come up. So we're going to close that tab. Now you notice, here we go, we have Firefox installed and ready to go. This is what it's going to look like when you first install it. Now, there is one more thing I want to show you pertaining to Firefox is you may have this already installed. However, if you click a link or something, let's say in an email application, or if you click it, maybe you have a link set on your desktop, it's not going to, in most cases, not going to automatically go into Firefox. It'll probably try to go into Internet Explorer or whatever to load that particular link up. So what you can do is you can go down to your settings, and this is probably going to be a little slow on my end because this is again a virtual machine. It's not a real machine. So you'll go to your settings, and again, to get to that, I'll just click my start button, and then you'll click this little cog icon here, and it'll say settings. So you click that, and then what you do, you'll get here, and you'll see there's a little search field, and it says find the setting. So I'm going to go down to apps, and we'll have default apps here. Another way you can do this is you can go over here to apps and have default apps right here. So you'll click that, and it'll have your default applications for everything. And we're going to come back to this in a little bit because I'm going to show you how to install another email client besides the one that comes with Windows. So, but what we want to do is, after we install Firefox, is we want to come down. You'll see it says web browser right here, and you'll notice it says Microsoft Edge. Well, we want to change this to our new Firefox that we just installed. So we're going to click this, just a regular click, and you'll notice it brings up a different amount of choices here. We've got Edge, we got Firefox, and we have Internet Explorer. Well, we want to pick our Firefox, obviously, and when I do this, Microsoft is going to say, hey, we recommend that you pick Edge, and it's really just more of a marketing scheme more than anything. They're trying to get you to stay with third browser, but we really want to use Firefox today, so we're going to click Firefox. And then it says, here we go, here's the marketing scheme. Before you switch, try Microsoft's Edge. It's new, it's fast, and it's built for Windows 10. But we want to switch anyway, so we're going to click Switch Anyway. It doesn't look like it's an actual button here, but it's actually this text. You just click it. And again, it's going to be a little slow because this is a virtual machine. And any day now. There we go. And Firefox is now set as our default browser. So if we do something like, let's see if I remember how to do this. It's been a while. Let's say we got a link on our desktop, and we want to go to, if I could type today, we want to go to Google. And you can set this on your desktop by going and right-clicking. That's the right mouse button, and you'll go to New, and it'll say Shortcut, and it'll bring this up. And then it'll say, where do you want to create a shortcut? And you just type in, you can pop in any web address here. It doesn't even matter what it is. And you can next. And I'm going to type in a name. You can type in any name here you want. And you hit finish. And you notice it pops up a little shortcut there. Now, if I didn't set this in the settings here, if I were to double click on this, it would try to open it in Edge. But we're going to double click, and it's going to attempt to open it in Firefox. So that's what the point is of setting this setting here. So we're done with Firefox, and usually this will pop up when we try to close the browser. It'll say, are you sure you want to close 2 tabs? Well, you notice there's 2 tabs at the top here. There's the new tab that has nothing in it, and then there's this server not found because, again, I don't have internet on this this virtual machine. So basically, it's just a warning to say, hey, do you want to close both these tabs or just one of them? You can also uncheck to where it says, warn when I attempt to close multiple tabs. That's sometimes good to have open because you may have something very important up here. Such as your bank information or just something that you don't want to close, maybe even a game that you're in the middle of, and you close this thinking, oh, I just want to close this one tab, and not realizing, oh, I've got another tab up here. So sometimes this is good to have checked. Well, we're going to close the tabs here, and then it'll close the browser. The other thing I wanted to show you guys is we're going to install Mozilla Thunderbird. Now, this is made by the same company, obviously, that makes Firefox. In fact, you can see the two icons look pretty similar. Now, what is this? This is an email client. You can use this to get email. In fact, I'm gonna hit close there because I forgot to show you guys a step, and this is with Firefox. When you open an application, such as Thunderbird here that we're getting ready to install, well, for some reason it didn't show that, but I think it will later on. It'll pop up a thing here in the center and says, hey, do you want to allow this program to make changes to your computer? It is a very good practice to, here we go, here's when it just took a delay there. You'll notice it says here, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? And it'll show the app that's currently trying to do that. In this case, it's Mozilla Thunderbird. In it, particularly the installer. It'll show who makes it and where it particularly is, but most of the time it's going to be on your hard drive. Now, it's good practice for you to not just hit blindly yes on this button. In this case, we're fine because we know we're installing Thunderbird. It's going to have the ability to make changes because it's having to put itself in the machine. But if you're just sitting there and you're typing away and suddenly this pops up, you might want to think twice before hitting that yes button because it could be something malicious on your system. But in this case, we're going to hit yes because we're installing something. And usually this is going to pop up every single time something tries to install, or if you're installing an application at that particular time. So we hit yes, and this gives Mozilla Thunderbird the ability to actually put stuff on your system. Now, particularly like Firefox, we have the standard and custom options here. Again, standard is more of what an everyday user would use, and custom is more of a custom experience for experienced users. In case you guys are curious, what is those custom settings? We're going to do custom just for this install since I did the standard for the Firefox install. So we're going to hit next, and it's going to ask our destination folder. And if you remember, in the Firefox setup, it asked, it just stated, hey, we're going to install to this folder. We're not going to give you the option to change it. Well, if you pick the custom, you actually could change it and put it anywhere else on your system that you want. I don't know really why you would do this as a normal user, but you can. You could even put it under, you put it in your home folder if you wanted to. But this is perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable to install to. So we'll accept the default. So we're going to hit next. And after we hit next, it says, hey, where do you want to put icons at for Thunderbird? This will be where you launch where you launch Thunderbird from. You may notice these shortcuts over here, such as Edge and Firefox. So Firefox put us an icon here to launch Firefox. So if I double click this, it's going to take us into Firefox. So if I leave this checked, Thunderbird's going to make another icon here to launch Thunderbird. And this particular icon, this particular check mark, will put one in our start menu, such as Firefox put one here. So we can leave both those checked. Those are fine. If you check this and it puts an icon on your desktop and you're like, hey, I don't really want that on my desktop. Well, guess what? I could even do this. You can come over here and you can just delete whatever is on your desktop, and then suddenly, hey, I don't have that icon in there anymore. So again, I'll show you that after we install. So we're going to hit next, and again, it tells us, hey, Thunderbird's going to be installed to this directory, so we'll hit install, and it installs Thunderbird. Now, some people, especially any young people out there, will probably like, what's the point of Thunderbird? Why do we need a mail client? Well, they used to be fairly commonplace, especially in the olden days of the internet. They're still common, but not as common. I don't know why I have 2 copies of Thunderbird here, but we're going to cancel that one. In the old days of the internet, or your email didn't come like Gmail or Yahoo does, where you go to a web page and you log in. You had to load up this application that was specifically for email, and that's how you would get your email. Well, this is pretty much the same application, although it's evolved over the years. But people still use it. I still use it for school and work and things like that. I find it just more handy than logging into a web page and having to check my email every once in a while, or leave it in an open tab on my Firefox or whatever. This will actually warn you, hey, you have an email. So if you use email for your work, you're probably going to want to use an application such as this, so that if your boss emails you and says, hey, I need you to come into the office immediately, we're having a problem, then you'll get that email right away, rather than sitting here and going, and then checking your email 3 hours later, and and your boss has sent you 500 emails saying, how come you're not responding? Of course, I don't know why he wouldn't just call you, but you get the point. So Mozilla Thunderbird's already been installed, so it asks us again, hey, do you want to launch Mozilla Thunderbird after we get it installed? And we're going to do that, so we hit finish. And again, I apologize, guys, for the slowness. This virtual machine is actually running on my laptop, and it's not the fastest bird in the world, I'll tell you that. All right, so Thunderbird actually is open now, and when you open it, you'll get these 2 things. You'll get the main Thunderbird interface, and then you'll get this, hey, you want to set up an existing account that you already have, an email account. It also has the option to pick a new email address. And this may seem daunting and complicated at first, because if you've never set up an email client, you may be like, well, that seems a little difficult. I'm so used to Gmail just logging in and it already being done for me. Well, I'm going to show you it's not really that complicated. So we're going to set our name. So for me, it's going to be Jason, and then I'm going to put a fake email in here. This will still work. You'll see. So we're going to put like Jason. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. I will use my professional email. Oh, I can't actually do that because I don't remember the password to it. So we'll just make a fake one. So you're going to go and you're going to put your name and then your email address that you plan on using. That'll be the email address that you're checking with the email client. So for me, I'm just going to put a fake email such as jason@email.com. And for the password, I'm going to put just anything. Put a bunch of H's, why not? Now this has the option of remembering the password or not. If you remember the password, it will keep the password basically saved somewhere. So when you check your email, you don't have to keep putting in the same password over and over again. While it's convenient, it makes it less secure. So pretty much you have to ask yourself, hey, do I want my email to be checked by anybody, or do I want my email to be, do I want the convenience, or do I want the security? Now, for most people, probably remember password is perfectly fine, because you're probably doing this at home, and if you're doing it at work, you always have the option of just logging out, and then no one can get in your windows anyway and check anything. So for all intents and purposes, we're going to hit continue, and it'll say, hey, I can't find, because this is a fake email, it's going to try to find the associated servers that it has to use to talk to the email and grab your email and send email. But since it's a fake email that I'm using, it's saying, hey, I don't understand what's going on. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to put some fake email stuff in here. And what you'll probably end up getting this stuff if it doesn't auto detect it, which auto detection used to not be that great, but it's actually evolved over the years. But even if you don't get this information from auto detect, usually you can get it from your email provider. You can just say, hey, I'm trying to set up Thunderbird here, and I need the information. So what we'll do is I'll just set some fake stuff here, and this may not let me continue, but we're gonna go for it anyway. And I don't really understand why it's not letting me continue. It probably won't let me until it's actually able to do something. But I'll tell you what, let me mess around here for a second, and I'll see. And I'll see if I can actually get yeah, this is going to do the same thing again. Okay, so what would happen if, I'm sorry guys that I wasn't able to actually able to show you, but what would happen if this actually could be set up is over here it would have your inbox and everything, your inbox, your spam messages, your outbox, etc. Everything you're used to seeing on regular emails such as Gmail or Yahoo. So you could click your inbox and it would show all your messages here, and you could use, although you don't really have to use it very often, especially if your email is set up with an IMAP server, because it's usually pretty good about, hey, this guy got an email, tell his email client to sync, and it'll just automatically do it. If it's POP3, you'll probably have to click Get Messages so that it says, because the server won't tell you, hey, you got a new email, display the email. It'll just wait until you click the button and download the email from the server. So you can click the button if you want. It's there no matter if you're using POP3 or if you're using IMAP. But if you're using IMAP, you don't really have to hit it unless you really want to. Might help if you're got a very important email that you're expecting, to be sent right now. But if you're just waking up in the morning and checking your email, you don't really have to hit the button unless you really want to. One tip I have is if you leave your program open all the time, it will download the email for you in the background. It can actually be set to check for new email every once in a while. I don't know exactly what the default is, but it'll check for email every once in a while, and then you'll be good. So that's all that I'm going to show you guys for right now. I actually need to go and take a break. I may be streaming here again in maybe about 15, 20 minutes. So if you want some more tech tips, just let me know. And thanks for watching, guys.